Retirement taxes, but this time with Roth conversions. We're going to bring back our good friend Barry, our guinea pig. Barry's the guy who wrote in on the YouTube channel, and we use some of his numbers they share with us to show you what his retirement taxes would look like if he just did the traditional, take Social Security at 62, take your pension, and then delay taking your your IRA distributions until you meet required distributions at 70. So we showed you the tax consequence there. This time we're going to start doing Roth conversions instead of taking Social Security. And we're going to delay Social Security till 70 and start the Roth conversions now. And let's see what we look like. It'll be interesting. So I am stoked. Had a lunch appointment with somebody. It went a little bit longer. I've been thinking about this ever since I did the last video on Barry, so retirement taxes for our friend Barry. So this will be part 2. So welcome Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel, my friends, a place where you come to learn about taxes and retirement. And I cannot wait to dive into this. So let's go. All right, so let me minimize. Don't forget to subscribe. All right, so remember, we just to reiterate for folks who are new to us, Barry wrote in, I guess, I don't know if that's his name. His name is, he says Sather Barry. I'm presuming Barry's his first name. I'm single, looking at effective tax rate of 23%. He's turning 62 next year and hoping to retire. He's got a small pension working for the post office, about $20,000 a year. He's got $350 in his 401k and Social Security at $20,000 a year. And I'm presuming that's when he hits 62. All right, so if he took it early. So again, we got pension at 20, Social Security at 20, both at 62, and $350,000 in his 401k. All right, so let's go over to my spreadsheet. And I already put some numbers in here. And this is available. I'll put a link on here. But again, it is available on my website at Heritage Wealth Planning. And I will put a link. Just click on that and you can run these numbers to get blue in the face. All right, so a couple things going on here. As you can see, already kind of pre-populated some stuff. We got an income need of $40,000. And the reason I say that is because Barry said he has pension of 20 and Social Security of 20. And he said he wasn't, at least he insinuated he wasn't going to touch his 401k until 70. Which tells me he needs about $40,000 a year in income. And that may or may not be true, but we're going to go with that. So that's our income needed, $40,000 a year, of which $20,000 is going to come from his pension that he'll take at 62, but he still needs a gap of $20,000 because I'm going to say we're not going to take Social Security until he hits 70. All right. So that's what I'm going to say. So we have a gap of $20,000 that we got to make up from someplace, and we're going to make it up from his 401k. Now, the fact he's deferring taking Social Security from 62 until 70, he'll get $32,800 a year at 70. All right. So he'll get a pretty good amount of money of Social Security at 70. And then with a pension of $20,000 at 7. Again, we're not inflating any of this, and we're not inflating any of this. So we're going to have to deal with it as we see fit. We're not inflating any of this. So we could, I guess, but I'm not even sure what we inflate it to, because I don't know if there's a cost of living adjustment on his pension. I don't know. We don't know what the COLAs will be on Social Security. We can make a presumption, and I frankly don't know what his income needs are. So for you who are saying, all right, you didn't use inflation, well, we're not using inflation. We're just across the board. We're not using inflation. And so now we take these guys. And so once he hits, we add this plus this. And once he hits sort of 70, he'll have almost $53,000 of income coming directly from two guaranteed sources, his pension and his Social Security. Neither have inflated. I just cannot stress that enough. I got so many emails on that, or not emails, but comments. You didn't inflate it. Yeah, you're right. I'm not inflating. I'm just not. All right, so, but that will be more than enough in today's dollars of what his income needs are, just on Social Security and his pension alone. So let's just go up here real quick, and we're going to run some quick numbers. Let me get myself out of the way to give you a gauge of his taxes with Social Security at $32,800 and his pension at $20,000. So what we're going to do is total Social Security benefits $32,800, and his pension is $20,000. And what his taxes will be in this regard. So his provisional income is $36,400, which means of his $32,800 in Social Security, only $6,540 will be subject to taxation. So we take this $6,540, we add it to his $20,000 in pension, and his adjusted gross income is $26,540. We have a $12,000 standard deduction, which means he has $14,540 of taxable income. Now we go to this other calculator here. We put $14,500 of taxable income. Oops, a single over here, $14,500, and his tax will be all of you working there for me? $1,550. So $1,550 divided by 50 was the total income is $52,800. Oh my Lord, it's going to be night. Oops, what happened here? 1,550 divided by 52,800. He's going to have an effective tax rate of, man, this thing is just moving slow. Oh, I guess I got to do equals. All right, there we go. Effective tax rate of 2.9%. All right, so he's getting $53,000 and paying all the 3% taxes. Hard to beat that. All right, so that's great, Josh. That makes sense. So the difference between taxation between what he had before, when he had his RMDs in the first year, he had to pay $6,300 in taxes. And if you don't remember that, just go to the video. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. He had to pay $6,000 in taxes because $20,000 was coming from his IRA, or actually $22,000 was coming from his IRA for required minimum distributions, $20,000 coming from his pension, and $20,000 coming from Social Security. So we take those three numbers. We had $22,000 from his IRA, plus $20,000 from Social Security and $20,000 from his pension. He had $62,000 of income. Now he has $53,000 of income. And so 9 divided by 53. So he had 17% more income. So 62,000 is 17% more income than the 53,000 he has now. But he had to pay $6,278 in taxes. Now he's paying $1,500. Is that right? $1,500 in taxes, $1,550. It was $6,278 minus $1,550. He has to pay. He has to, 4, 5, 7, 8, 1,550 divided by 4, 5, 7, 8. He's got to pay 340% more in taxes the other way than he would this way with deferring Social Security. He has 16% more income on the other way, but he has to pay 338% more in taxes. So I'd rather have, at the end of the day, he's going to pay a heck of a lot more taxes too as he gets older. This is just at 70 when his RMDs are rather minimal. Wait till those puppies get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's going to be bad. And so bad they'll pay more Medicare premiums too. And again, he'll pay a higher tax rate, higher income tax. And on top of that, he will pay tax on his qualified dividends and capital gains. In this case, he will not because he stays well in the 12% tax bracket. All right, so now we're talking a significant difference in taxation. So remember, before he had $62,000 of gross income, and he had $6,278 in taxes. And that's just feds too, by the way. So we take this guy, subtract this guy, and that means he netted $5,972. Here we have $52,800, and we take $15,150, and we do equals this guy minus that guy, and he's netting $51,250. So basically, for the privilege of paying 350% more in taxes just in the first year alone, never mind all the other ramifications that goes with it, he was able to bring home an extra $8,000. It's just not worth it. There's no getting around that. I mean, it's just not. Now, again, people can say, well, you're going to die at 68 and he'll never get Social Security. That's true, but he's dead. I hate to say it, but he won't know because he just died. Now, in fact, even with that, if he has kids, and he didn't say if he's married, I'm presuming he did. He said single. So let's just say he has kids, all right, or something like that. You can't leave Social Security to your kids. You only leave assets to your kids. So that's why this strategy I'm going to share with you would be even better, as a matter of fact. So, all right, because you can have all Social Security reserved all day long, but you're not leaving any of that to your children. All right, so let's talk about this. So now I said, okay, 62 years old. He's got $350,000 in his portfolio, and we're just going to put this at 2019 because he said next year is 62. What we're going to do is we're going to take $50,000 a year from his portfolio, of which 20,000 is going to go to this gap, because remember, he needs an income need of 40,000 and he only has 20,000 going from his pension. So he's got to make up the 20,000 from some other place, and we're going to have it coming from his portfolio of, again, right now it's 350,000. All right, but we're also going to take 30,000 a year and convert it to a Roth. All right, so we're going to take 30,000 a year, convert to a Roth, 20,000 he's going to spend. Now, I haven't done tax on that so far, so we will in just a second. So now his taxes or his income will consist of his taxable, what he's got to look at paying taxes, 50,000 in IRA distributions and 20,000 of his pension. All right, so we're going to run that number in just a second. Now, of that 30,000, we assume that he's going to get, again, 7% a year. We've made a 7% a year assumptions before on the $350,000 for his 401k that he has today. We're just want to compare apples to apples. We're assuming 7% a year he's going to get. So what we do is we simply say, okay, he's got 9 years, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, and then when he hits 70 years old, and that's when his RMDs kick in. So that 30,000 there will grow to 55,154 tax-free when he hits 70. I just go down 1 year. So in 8 years, 7 years, so you can see where we're going there. So at the end of the day, he'll have roughly $350,000 that he's moved from this $350,000 portfolio into a Roth IRA. And now at 70, there will no longer be any required minimum distributions whatsoever. There won't be any. So I just want to reiterate, he's taking $350,000, he's moving $20,000 a year over to here. So it's going to reduce that amount, that IRA balance by $20,000. But he's also taking $30,000 a year and he's converting it as well. Okay, so you see where I'm going with this. Let me just make sure this number is right. Yeah, okay, good. So he's taking $30,000 here, he's converting it over here where he's getting a 7% rate of return. So we do that for all these years, and when he hits 70 years old, he has $352,000 in there. Now, on top of that, so once he takes the $50,000 out, as you can see by my thing up here, we have I-32, which is this $350,000. That's a sell for $350,000 minus the $50,000 he's taken out. So we're going to take it out at the beginning of the year, and then the remainder is going to grow at 7%. That's what that shows you. So we have $350,000. The 1st of January, we pull $50,000 out. $20,000 goes to spending. $30,000 goes to Roth IRA conversion. And then the rest gets a 7% rate of return, and that sucker grows to $321,000. That's what we have left, and we just do that each and every year until in year 70, or at the end of year 69, he's got $52,000 left in his IRA. Now, on a $52,000 IRA divided by 27.4, his RMD will be roughly $1,800, $1,900. And so you can do whatever you want. So you can convert the whole thing. You can do at this stage. I don't care. I just want to show you what we're looking at come year 70. That he's got $352,000 in his Roth, $52,000 left still in his traditional 401k or IRA, and he's just living solely on his pension and Social Security, which is well more than what his income needs. In fact, more than 25% more than what his income needs are, because he has $52,800. He only needs $40,000. And let's calculate it out. We have $12,800 divided by 40,000. That's a 32% more increase in his income than what he needs, because Social Security and his pension, and he pays a whole lot less taxes, and there's no reliance on the market. And again, he doesn't have to touch any of this. So this $352,000. I mean, that sucker could grow for another 15 years. So let's just say 352. Well, I guess we can do it here for y'all to see. We're going to take this guy, and we're going to times that by 1.07, and we're going to do it for, let's just say, 15 years. So for 15 years, that's almost $1 million tax-free, my friends. That's fantastic. That's almost $1 million tax-free without blinking an eye. All right, that sounds good. But you still got to pay tax on the front end. So let's see what we got here. So we don't have any Social Security benefits. So there's no provisional income to worry about. We have no provisional income, because provisional income just calculates how much of your Social Security benefit is subject to tax. So now we have all other income. We have $50,000 from his IRA distributions plus a $20,000 pension. So we got $70,000 of total income. And again, we don't need this right here. In fact, this won't calculate because I'm using the provisional income thing. So we know we have $70,000 of total income. I don't have a way. I forgot I got that using this $35,100 for provisional income. We don't need that. All right, so we got $70,000 total income. We have $12,000 as a standard deduction, and that gives us, we know what it's going to be, but I'll just run it here anyway, minus that. That gives us a $58,000 taxable income. So you go back to our tax cheat sheet here, $58,000 of taxable income, and we're going to pay $8,698 in taxes. That's what we're going to pay each and every year for the next until he's 7 years old. So let's go back. We're going to pay $8,600, and that won't change. I mean, well, it could actually would change a little bit, be less, simply because the tax brackets are inflated. But again, we're not inflating anything. So in reality, that'll be less each and every year because of inflation of tax brackets. But we're not inflating anything for anything across the board. The only thing we're using is return numbers on the investment portfolio, and that's it. So what did I say the taxes were? So he's going to pay $8,698 in federal taxes. All right. So now he's going to pay $8,698, and we're going to do that for what, 8 years, right? 62, 63, 64, 65, 66. All right. So if we're going to do that for 8 years, it was 8 or 9. We got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Okay. So it's for 8. So he's going to pay, I keep forgetting to do the stupid, there we go. So he's going to pay $69,000. We'll just say $70,000 in taxes between now and when he hits 70. After that, he'll pay all of, what do you say, $1,500 in taxes, $1,550, and we'll say he lives another, we'll say 15 years times 50. I keep forgetting the. There we go. Yep, 1,550 times 15. So in that case, he's going to pay. So total taxes in this scenario is going to be this plus that equals. I screwed that all up. I got it. Hold on a second, my friends. Total tax is going to be equal this plus this. He'll pay $93,000 in taxes from 62 years old to the time he dies. We have him die in 85. $92,000 a year in taxes. So we'll divide this. I know it's a lot of spreadsheets, calculations here. I think and we're going to divide that by 62 minus 85 minus 62 is 23 years. And if I'm off a year or two, that's fine. So he's going to pay $4,036 in taxes on average. Now, the problem that we have here is we already talked about when he hits 7 years old, he's going to pay $6,278. I mean, it's going to go up each year. Each year is going to go up. I don't know what it will go up to because we don't know the portfolio value, but we know for a fact it's going to go up. Why? Because the required minimum distribution divisor goes up. It's 27.4 the first year, 26.5, 25.6, and so on and so on. So each and every year he's required to take more and more out of his IRA. So we know for a fact that $62.78 he's going to pay in the first year will go up. So, but let's just say he's got $62.78. That's what he's going to pay. He'll pay that for 15 years equals times 15. And so he's going to pay that just right there alone, right? If we got that right? Yeah, $6,278. He'll start when he's 70 years old. And this is the worst case scenario, the best case scenario, excuse me. If he pays that in of itself each and every year until he dies at 85, from 70, he's going to pay more in tax just on that alone, or just on those RMDs. That's the best case scenario, assuming he doesn't have to pay any more each and every year, assuming there's no qualified dividend tax, assuming the tax brackets don't go up, assuming Medicare premiums don't increase. Now, he only has to pay $1,070 roughly the first 8 years. So it would take $1,070 times by 8. All right, so now we do this equals that. Get out of the way, plus this. I mean, so the best case scenario he's paying $10,000 more. It's crazy. I tell you. And we're going to do that. What do we do? Was that divide by 23? Is that what we did? I think. Let's make sure it's 23. Yeah. All right. So he's paying, that's 15% more taxes. How do you know? Because you take 102, you take this number right here, subtract by this number, and then divide that number. So I will show you. We go equals this minus this. And then you got to actually, what we got to do is we got to put these little things right here. And then we divide by this. And we'll see what his is 10.6% more in taxes, not doing this strategy we're sharing with you here alone. And again, that's the best case scenario. It's going to be worse because as each and every year grows, or that he increases, his age grows, I should say, he's going to take more and more and more out from his IRA. So the best case scenario is he pays 10.6% more. And that's not even including any of the other tax stuff that comes with it, like I said, Medicare premiums and whatnot. So now the risk is, of course, what if he dies? I hate to sound morbid, but he's single. So who cares? I mean, we don't want him to die. But if he's been working at the post office, I don't know if he's a letter carrier or not. My inclination is probably in pretty good shape. I don't know. But, what if he dies? And that's always a what if. I mean, what if he dies tomorrow? Social Security robbed him? No, it's just, people get really wrapped up around the axle on that. And I wish they would not as much. Now, there might be a reason. What if you die and you're leaving a destitute wife or something like that? I get that. But in this case, if he dies before he had a chance to take his Social Security, it's just, that's just a risk. And I don't think it's that huge of a risk. A, because I don't think he's going to die. And B, if he did die, he doesn't know. So anyway, this is pretty interesting to me. I love this kind of stuff because it just shows you was just a proper plan. And we're not even talking state taxes here either. Don't forget this right here, this IRA that's now a Roth. I probably should have written Roth up here. Is not subject to income taxes from the feds either. Now, if you lived in Maryland, or I think Maryland. I can't remember Maryland, but Maryland and Rhode Island, they both tax IRAs where they don't tax 401ks. It depends on your income. No, it doesn't depend on your income in I can't remember. But both, Maryland and Rhode Island, to give an example. If you kept it in 401k, you don't pay tax. If you roll it to an IRA, you do. Now, Roth IRAs are tax-free. All right, so Roth IRAs are tax-free. I have this inclination, folks, if you live in Maryland, they're not tax-free in Maryland. I can't remember the letter that the Maryland.gov shows you, but I could have sworn it said Roth IRA. I have to revisit that, maybe do another video for you Marylanders. But anyway, if you live in a state that has an income tax, Massachusetts and Georgia, you won't pay any tax because we have a pretty significant exemption for taxpayers. But in California, all the other, if you live in Nebraska, Kansas, Wisconsin, those states hammer you tax-wise. So there's just a lot of Oregon, a lot of states that hammer you. If you live in one of those, we're talking about this won't be subject to taxation, but a 401k/IRA distribution will. And it just adds fuel to the fire. So the moral of the story, don't just sit there and take your Social Security early without thinking about the tax man and how the tax man is coming for you. Essentially what we're doing here is we're paying a little bit more taxes on the front end to get a heck of a lot less tax on the back end and a heck of a lot less money guaranteed too. Because don't forget, Social Security, it's not going away, at least for this guy. It's not going away. It's not going away, by the way. But it's not going away for this guy no matter what. They're not going to reduce the benefits. And he's not relying on the stock market. Think we're saying 7% a year is what we're hoping to get. Well, if the market falls 40%, then everything's blown up. And the fact he doesn't need his money because it's all in the Roth now, who cares? He's like, I don't need it. I got Social Security, my pension kicking in. And my presumption the post office has a COLA on their pension. I bet they probably do, which makes this number look better. Anyway, so I'll stop rapping there. I love the strategy. Barry, my man, this is something you need to be thinking about doing, man. And again, you can manipulate. You don't have to do 30,000. You do 15, do whatever you want to do. Essentially, by the time you're 70 years old, you've minimized your IRA. That's what we're shooting for. If we could get you to minimize your IRA to the point that essentially just a drop in the bucket from your RMDs, that's going to save you a lot of money. It's going to save you a lot of money in taxes. All right, my friends. Well, this is the place you come for tax planning. Hope this helps. Real world scenarios. Love comments. Comments always help for sure. So comment below. Thumbs up. Help me with the YouTube algorithm. And subscribe. Again, I'll put the link to the spreadsheets that we use here. I'm not rocket science. So if you're a spreadsheet guru and you say, comment, but whatever. Just constructive criticism is fine. If there's an error that we're making or I'm making, I'm fine with that. Don't be an a-hole though. Just say, hey, you might want to think about this instead. I'm absolutely comfortable with that. But I see some of these videos where people do, and people just hammer these guys. I'm like, that doesn't help anybody. If you see an error, then suggest the error. I was watching a guy talk about a solar panel. Now, if you're not familiar with solar, it's called a photovoltaic, PV panels. And anyway, so this guy had just his numbers are wrong. And I just pointed out, hey, you might want to revisit what your PV panel is actually going to give you on a regular basis, because you're not getting 300 watts on a consistent basis on your photovoltaic panel. It's just not happening. And he was appreciative. He goes, well, and we had a good dialogue about that actually. And he actually recommended me this book, which really helped me a lot in my own understanding of the basics and economics of energy and going into electricity, solar, thermal, PV, wind, which I can't stand. But I mean, still at the end of the day, it was a good dialogue that we had there. And he was able to take the criticism. He didn't blow me out of the water. I didn't blow him out of the water. So criticism is wonderful as long as it's done in a respectful, but a polite manner. I think that's important. So anyway, subscribe, I'll put the link in the show notes for my blog post that has all these spreadsheets, and share it if this is interesting to you. Share it with anyone you want, because the more people that get it, the more people YouTube wants to show it to. So I appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.